Hey Jones, Miss Neesmith here. I'm sharing this video with everyone during Breast Cancer Awareness Month to help you understand that you're never alone if you're going through a similar situation that I had. We're going to do a little experiment here first. So I need everybody to listen. All right, I want you to raise your hand if you know someone who has cancer, who has had. All right, now keep your hand up if you know someone who has died of cancer. Now look around the room. You're not alone. Even if no one in your class still has their hand up, I can assure you people in the school and other Jets time have their hand up. Let me tell you a little bit about myself first. If you don't know who I am, I teach 7th grade math in the Falcons team. I have a sister, Nicole, who's 2 years older than I am, and then a younger sister, Rachel, who is 18, almost 19, and I live right here in Boone County. So when I was 2 years old, my mother got diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. Stage 3 breast cancer is when the cancer has already spread to the lymph nodes around the infected area. They took out the cancer and she started treatment right away. Of course, she lost her hair and was sick, but I was only 2 years old, so what did I know? It went away after the treatments and surgery, and 3 years later, my mom had my little sister, Rachel. Unfortunately, all the hormones made the cancer come back. The cancer came back in 2001, a year after Rachel was born, and was found in her liver, lungs, and brain at all different times. After chemo treatments, the cancer would go away in one area, then show back up in another. She had multiple brain treatments that would work, but it would never guarantee to keep the cancer away. My freshman year of high school, I found out that my mom's cancer came back in her liver again, and the doctors wanted to try a new approach. They wanted to plant radiation seeds in her liver and see if the direct hit could take the multiple tumors away. The procedure cost well over $100,000, and we simply did not have that type of money. What my parents' friends did was they set up a benefit, which is like a fundraiser, to help pay for the cost. Now, we all know the Cincinnati Bengals. Well, at the time, there was a player called, his name was Ray Malaluga, and he was my mom's favorite Bengals player. He ended up showing up to the benefit for my mom, and this just made her life. We rose close to enough money for the procedure, and my mom went through with it even though she had her doubts. I don't know why she never wanted to go through with it, but because of everyone's generosity, she felt like she was obligated to do it. She had the procedure the first week of June, and I had never been so scared in my life. I had no idea what was going to happen to my mother and if she was even going to make it off the operating table or die. But I had many friends and family that were there for us to let us know that everything was going to be okay. I don't remember much more of that day, but the procedure ended up not working after all. After everyone donated all they possibly could, after all the anxiety, after all the pain, after all the money spent, it didn't work. I got rid of a lot of the tumors, but there were still a couple of them left. The surgery wasn't a guaranteed thing, but we all had hope that it would work, and when we found out it didn't, I was devastated. I remember standing in the kitchen with Nicole and receiving a phone call from my father telling her that there was still cancer, and we just stood there and cried. After the surgery, there were many complications with her health. This procedure ended up hurting her more than helping. One of the radiation seeds got out of her liver and caused her to have a bleeding ulcer in her esophagus, which is like right here, and then gastritis in her small intestine, which are two very painful diseases that enabled her, or that didn't allow her to be able to eat anything for months and months. She lost a considerable amount of weight, which is most evident from pictures taken throughout the years. Also, because of the radiation seeds getting out, she ended up getting cancer in the lymph nodes around her stomach, and the cancer went away in her liver, but showed back up in both of her lungs. It was a never-ending battle for my family and I. The week before Christmas in 2012, my mom was in such great pain that she was taken to the hospital. She stayed in the hospital so they could tend to her pain, and on Christmas Eve, she got to come home and spend the night with us along with Christmas. It was the best Christmas ever, and we were very thankful to have her there with us. The day after Christmas, my dad was at work, and my sisters and I went to go let a neighbor's dog out. When we got back, our mom was in the bathroom, just got out of the shower, and her friend stopped by the house. We had no idea why she was there, but she had spent a lot of time with us, so we didn't think anything of it. Not until she told us why she was there. Her name is Vicky, just like my mom's, and she had said that our mom had called her while we were out because she was in so much pain, couldn't go to the bathroom, and was scared. I went and checked on her in the bathroom, and she was crying and telling me to help her because she was in so much pain. I had Vicky call 911 because I was so upset and could barely talk. I had to call my dad and tell him that there was an ambulance coming to take mom to the hospital, and he said he would meet them there. Her hospital is in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is about 30 minutes away from our house. Vicky said she would ride with my mom in the ambulance to the hospital and would have my dad call us. Well, Vicky called about 2 more times because they had to change the hospitals for a closer one because my mom was in so much pain and she couldn't take the ride. She ended up about 5 minutes from our house at the closest hospital. Later that night, we were going to have dinner with Vicky and her family at my house. Just like normal, sorry guys, just like normal, they came over, and before we ate, I went to my room to change. My dad and sisters followed me into my room, and my dad sat down on the bed. He said, "Girls, do you know what hospice is?" And me being so nonchalant about it, I'm like, of course, it's for people who are dying. That's when he proceeded to say, "Well, they're gonna admit your mom into hospice." Shocked and eyes full of tears, I said, "Is mom dying?" He just hung his head and shook it. As you can imagine, all of us broke out in sobs and cried together for what seemed like forever, while my dad tried to tell us what was happening through his crackling voice. We all knew this day was coming, but it came up so soon, none of us knew that her cancer was this serious. After collecting ourselves, we went to the kitchen and gave Vicky's family a hug and sat down and ate dinner that someone had made for us. After dinner, I went to my neighbor's house and broke the news we had just received. My neighbors at the time, I considered them my second family, and to tell them that my mom was dying was very hard. Paige, who's around my age, stood there in shock. Dee, her mom, cried with us, and Jim, her dad, gave his encouraging words. My mom spent about a week or so in the hospital because there wasn't a bed open at the hospice center. She looked amazing still. They had the pain under control, and she definitely didn't look like someone who was dying. My mom had so many visitors at the hospital, it was unreal. At many times, there was a line of people waiting down the hallway to visit her and see how she was doing. A bed finally opened up at the hospice center, and she was moved there promptly. It was such a nice facility with such nice rooms, and it felt almost like home. We could even bring our family dog up to visit her. We kept the visitation hours the same, and there were still a lot of visitors that would come and see how she was doing and talk for what seemed like forever. The middle school where Rachel went and where I interned at brought a surplus amount of food to the facility so we wouldn't have to live off the vending machine snacks. Also, our high school where I went and Nicole graduated from gave us a very generous gift card for groceries. My mom finally got to come home to live with us and die at her own home. We had a hospital bed with an oxygen tank there for her with all the medicine she needed to remain comfortable. Vicky would spend every day with her, and my godmother and my mom's Kentucky mom, Connie, would spend every night with her to make sure she wouldn't try and get up and possibly hurt herself. Those two were my mom's best friends and stuck by her side till the end. On Tuesday, January 15th, my dad called me and said that they were going to take my mom to the hospice center because they could help her more than we could at home. So she went back, and me and Rachel went over later that night to visit and see how she was doing. We finally got home around 11 o'clock and ended up spending the night over at a neighbor's. My mom's birthday is on January 17th, and we had family from out of town come in and spend her birthday with her. The medicine that she was on made her so weak and tired that she was barely awake but would open her eyes every once in a while but never talked. Rachel and I surprised her with balloons and her favorite dessert, a Heath Blizzard from Dairy Queen, Even though she couldn't eat it, it was a thought that counts. We wanted to spend her birthday as a family, so we limited the visitors to very close family friends. It was a truly great day, and we all had a good time together. On Saturday morning, January 19th, 2013, around 9 o'clock, my dad calls and says not to rush, but to come soon to the hospice center. Instantly, we all got a little nervous, and even though he said to not rush, we all did anyway. When we got to the hospice center, my dad then proceeded to tell us that our mom only had 12 to 24 hours to live. This was the most gut-wrenching moment of my life. They said that her breathing was shallow and not as often, and that it was getting more shallow as the day went on. At this point, she had been asleep for 2 days, and I hadn't talked to her in 4. All of the family was there, but then around 3 o'clock p.m., a lot of them decided to leave. Nicole, her boyfriend, now husband Michael, and Rachel all decided that they wanted to go to 5 o'clock mass that evening. Me, however, I wanted to stay by my mom's side because I knew it wasn't going to be much longer. My dad had gotten in the shower because him and some of the family were going to go to church over by the facility. But while he was in the shower, the nurse came in and said it was going to be really soon. Everyone stayed where they were. I was by her bedside holding her hand and rubbing it, while my grandma, aunt, and dad stood around. Her breaths kept getting shorter and farther apart to where I wondered if this was going to be her last breath. Finally, around 5:30 p.m., she took her last breath and passed away. Now, my goal here is to not make you cry or feel depressed for the rest of your day. I'm here to help and to let each and every one of you know that if you're going through this, you are not alone. It is a tough road ahead, and I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be hard, and you're gonna feel like you are alone and that no one knows what you're going through. But do you remember that little experiment we did in the beginning, and how many people in just your class know what you're going through? Now imagine every JETS class in this building. My point is that cancer is scary and it kills people every day, but don't let cancer control your life. I had to grow up a lot faster than most people my age, and it made me become a better person. Even though cancer is this terrible disease, it can make you into a better person if you let it. Don't dwell on all the negatives that cancer brings to your life. Look at the bright side, and you will truly find yourself through the mist of darkness. I'm sharing my story for the sole purpose for you all to know that there are people out there who know what you're going through, and for you to understand that you are not alone. All the counselors, administrators, teachers, and any other staff in the building is here to help you get through your struggles. My assistant principal was my person in middle school, and my school counselor was my person in high school. I was never alone, and neither are you.